Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome, everyone, to my monthly tarot forecast. My name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl, and I'm so excited to be here with you live. I'm going to be pulling cards for the month ahead, so for September. Now, if you joined me last time, so I did one of these monthly forecast lives about a month ago for the month of August. I used a particular spread for that reading, but I'm going to just go rogue today, and I'm not going to use a spread, and I'm going to pull 4 cards for the month ahead. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm going to be using the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot by Ethany. And I'm really liking this deck. I'm curious if anyone who's here live has this deck or has heard of this deck. It's really great. I'm really loving it. I also have my big chunk of amethyst. This is my favorite stone to have with me when I'm doing tarot readings. I feel like it helps my psychic psychic connection. Hello. Okay, so welcome, Lois. Hello. Monk Q, Artos the Bear. Hi. Sky Tarot. Okay, so far there's only 12 people. This is a small skeleton crew here. Oh, 15. A couple more people joined in. Welcome, Stella. All right, so I'm gonna give my cards a little bit of a shuffle, and before I start this reading, I'll just kind of explain how I'm going to do this reading. So I'm going to consult my Cosmic Wisdom Tarot cards, and I'm going to ask, I just want to get kind of a little insight into the general energies for the month ahead. It's kind of like a weather forecast. And as you know, weather forecasts are incredibly unpredictable. Like they change all the time. You wouldn't actually necessarily make solid plans based on what a weather forecast is going to be, or at least I don't. So I kind of think of my tarot forecast readings as being kind of like that. It's like a weather forecast. It might shift and change as time goes on. But I want to just get kind of a general feel for sort of the overall energies that will be coming up for us in the month of September. And I'm also hoping the cards are going to tell me like what we need to really focus on, what's going to be helpful for us, if there's going to be any challenges. I'm hoping the cards are going to give me some kind of little tidbits like that. This is a general reading. So of course you individually, if I were to pull cards for just you, they might be a little bit different. So just keep that in mind that this is a general kind of overall reading. Welcome, Chris, Lizzy, Buttercup, Hyperboreezy, Pantoufle. Lots of interesting names here. I love it. Marcos. Hi, Marcos. Hey, welcome. Okay, so it's so good to have all of you here today with me. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull 4 cards and I'll talk about the month ahead, and then I'll open it up for individual readings. So if you want me to pull you a card, you can let me know after I've done the forecast. All right, so let's dive in. Let's get started. I'm just going to shuffle my cards, and as I'm shuffling, I'm going to tell you about an upcoming event that I'm going to be hosting or teaching. So I have a event coming up this Sunday, so really soon, in a couple days, and it's called Plan Your September with Tarot, and it's a kind of a monthly planning / tarot journaling session. So I'm going to sit down with you live on Sunday over Zoom, and we're going to plan our month ahead together. And I'm going to walk you through one of my favorite processes for planning the month ahead. We're going to consult our tarot cards. I'm going to show you how to kind of use your tarot to help guide you in planning your month ahead. You'll come away with a solid plan for September, lots of motivation, lots of action steps, etc. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat if you're interested in signing up. Dawn, you're looking forward to it. Yay. Okay, so that's happening this Sunday. There is a cost to it, so it's $33. You get the replay, and you get some worksheets, like PDF full of monthly planning worksheets. Oh, Kara from Rhode Island, you're also joining my monthly planning session. Yay! Oh, thank you so much. It's so good to hear. I'm glad. Hello, Meredith. Welcome. Okay, so let's start. Let's dive in. Okay, so I'm gonna ask my cards. I want to know just the first card. I want to get a sense for the overall energy of the month ahead. Ugh, Three of Swords. Okay. So Three of Swords is definitely what I call a challenge card. This is so interesting. Okay. So the Three of Swords, at first glance, when we look at this card, it looks like it's a card of sorrow. And it looks like it's a card, like, the rain looks like tears. It looks kind of sad. And there's the heart that has three swords going through it. So at first glance, we think, oh, this is about feeling heartbroken, feeling wounded, betrayed, disappointed, sad, etc. And that's what it first appears to be like. Now, for some of us, because there's different ways to look at a card, so I'm going to be giving a few different ways because I think for some of us, one interpretation is going to apply. For the rest of us, maybe another one will. So I'm going to throw a few things out here. So for some of us, September may be a really like prime, perfect month for healing issues of the heart. And I have to admit that I just got finished doing a whole bunch of readings for people this summer, and this card was the one that turned up in a lot of readings. Like this was I kept seeing this card again and again and again. So something's definitely going on collectively with us with this card. So for some of us, September may be like the perfect opportunity to finally heal some of those like wounds of the heart, and emotional scars that we might have. And I think sometimes we may have, there may be some heartbreak or wounding of the heart to do with, a past relationship. And I think sometimes instead of processing it and looking at it and working through it and dealing with it and integrating it, it feels so overwhelming and painful that we just put it to the side and carry on, and we don't really look at that thing that happened that was upsetting. So September for some of us may be a month to work on healing issues of the heart. Now, this is from the Suit of Swords, and the Suit of Swords is all about the mind and thoughts and how we think about things and how we see things. And when I think of the mind and thoughts, I also think of how our minds love to craft a narrative with everything that happens. When someone behaves a certain way, our minds jump in there with a whole story, with a whole narrative. And sometimes that narrative is correct, but more often than not, it's not really that accurate. And then I think sometimes if we really buy into the narrative and the stories that our minds are constantly weaving, sometimes that can lead to feeling more disconnected from people rather than more connected. So that's one thing I get with the Three of Swords. The other thing I get with this card, I'm noticing that there is like a little plant that's sprouting up right at the bottom of the card. And that is like this symbol of new growth and new possibility. And to me, it's like, what would be possible if you were to heal your heart and release any kind of built up emotion and heal that? What then would be possible? Because that kind of paves the way for something new and wonderful to kind of happen and blossom and unfold in your life. And then the other thing I want to say about the Three of Swords is that the Three of Swords is all about clarity and being able to see a situation for what it is. And so again, it's coming back to this idea of how our minds often like to overlay a story onto situations. And sometimes if we're looking at things through rose-colored glasses, we will put this positive story on top of things. And that's not accurate. That's not always great either. Or if we're looking at the world through, I don't know, brown tinted glasses or whatever, we put a shit story on top of absolutely everything. And that also isn't the truth. That also isn't seeing things clearly for what they are. And so the Three of Swords challenges you to drop your stories, take off the rose colored lenses, and see the truth of your life. Or, I mean, that sounds kind of heavy, see the truth of your life, but like look at things, see people, situations, your life for what it is, seeing the facts, seeing things clearly rather than looking at things through a story or through those rose colored or brown tinted glasses. Okay, I see some comments have come in, so I'm just gonna look at the chat here. Okay. Adriana, you said you're resonating. Buttercup, you resonate with it. Going to do a self-love September. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. And Sky Tarot, you also got this card in your weekly reading. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Sky Tarots, you say pain, but not negative. And yes, that's kind of how I feel about the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords can feel negative and painful initially, but it's not, if that makes sense. And on the surface, it looks like it's a crappy card, but it really isn't. Okay, so that's kind of the overall sort of energy. I think we're going to be, I think that we're going to have opportunities to have the courage to take off those rose-colored glasses or just take off the narrative through which we see things and really see things as they are. So that does actually feel kind of exciting. Okay, so I'm going to put this card to the side and I'm going to draw another card and just see what comes up. Judgment. Okay, I love this. I love Judgment. This is one of my favorite cards. And I always wish that it was called something else because I feel like the word judgment is just really heavy. So Judgment is all about being like a phoenix rising from the flames, turning over a new leaf, starting a new, not just starting a new chapter, but rewriting your story. So rewriting your story, and actually this goes along really well with what I was saying here with the Three of Swords about how our minds love to tell stories. We love to craft a narrative out of things. And Judgment is saying at any point in time, you can actually tell a different story. You can change your story. And that's what I think Judgment is all about. So Judgment is encouraging you to reinvent your life in some way. And it's also about listening to your calling, your inner calling. I see the trumpet that the angel here is holding. I see that as a symbol of like a noise, like hearing something, like being called to do something. So that little voice of your intuition or your higher self trying to communicate to you. We all know what this feels like, and we've all experienced ignoring that little voice and feeling called to do something, but then just being like, oh, well, I don't know how to do it though. It's going to be too hard. I think we've all had that experience, but the Judgment card is about really listening to that inner calling, because following that inner calling this month is going to lead you to recreate and kind of reinvent yourself and reinvent your life. It's going to lead you to making those big breakthroughs. And look at the people in this card. This is a little bit macabre, but there's people in coffins. This is actually a graveyard. And there's bodies popping out of coffins. They're waking up. They're starting a new life. So this is a symbol of awakening, the afterlife. So this idea that, when you pass on, you just enter, it's like an awakening. You enter another dimension or realm of being. It's not an end. And yeah, I think the biggest takeaway with Judgment is when you listen to that inner calling and you follow it, this is what's going to lead you to rewrite your story. This is going to lead to the breakthroughs and more kind of awakening, if that makes sense. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm just kind of reading the comments here. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's draw another card. I am excited to see judgment here because I feel like judgment is a big one. This is about like making big shifts. And the thing with that is like this isn't going to just happen on its own, like without you doing anything. You have to participate in it. You have to consent to evolving your life or changing things or rewriting your story. It's not going to happen. So if you don't want things to change, if you're like, I don't want to transform, I don't want to rewrite my story, then that's okay. It's not going to happen. There's opportunities to do that. And if you take the opportunities, it can lead to something. Okay, let's draw another card here for the month ahead for September. 10 of Wands. Okay, this card, I knew this card was going to come up. I knew it was going to come up. Last night when I was falling asleep, I kept seeing this card and I'm like, oh, that 10 of Wands is going to come up again because this came up in my most recent weekly reading that I did last week for this week. Okay, so 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands is all about feeling like you've got a lot on your plate. You're stressed, you're overburdened, there's a lot to do, and you just feel like it's falling to you. It's all falling on your shoulders and you're having to do everything. But, and this is something I pointed out in the last reading I did, is that there's a wheelbarrow in the background there, and this guy isn't using it. So he has this tool behind him that he doesn't see it. He forgets it's there. He hasn't thought to use it yet, but it would make his job of carrying this huge bundle of sticks so much easier if he could just put it in that wheelbarrow. And so the 10 of Wands asks you, or it's the 10 of Wands is saying to you, there's an easier way to do things. So if you feel yourself struggling in September with anything, or if you feel yourself, if it feels like there's just a lot on your plate and things are hard and you're really having to expend a ton of effort and not really getting that far, the 10 of Wands is saying, there's an easier way to do things. There's a simpler way. There's an easier way. You have some sort of tool or something at your disposal that you have forgotten was there, or you're just not seeing it. And sometimes you have to stop and slow down and just stop what you're doing and look up. Like if this guy was not so engrossed in what he was doing and just put the sticks down, took a breather, looked around, he would be like, oh shit, there's a wheelbarrow. Like I may as well use it. So that's the message of the 10 of Wands for September. Okay, I'm just going to check in with the comments. Is judgment associated with Libra? I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember. But Kat, you said another Libra card. Okay, maybe it is associated with Libra. I'm not very good with astrology and the astrological associations. Okay, so Kat, you said, isn't that the law? I don't know if you're talking about judgment or not. I don't think of judgment as being a law card. Maybe justice, but not judgment. Yeah, Laura, you said it should be called The Awakening. And I think I have one or two decks that call it that. And I think that that's just so much more appropriate. Okay. Oh, Miss Vicky Sanders, you're turning 37, September 27th. Yay. Congratulations, or happy early birthday. Okay. Kat, you're turning 45 in October. So scared. You'll be okay. All right. So let's draw one more last card. So far um we've gotten intense cards, and they've all been I'll put them all out here. Okay, so this is what we have so far for September. So let's draw the last card. I'm just going to shuffle my deck again. Oh, it's reversed. Oh, that's so funny, because you know what's happened? I was holding my deck upside down, but I'm still going to read this reverse because it appeared reversed for a reason, right? Okay, so we have the Magician, but he's reversed. Okay, so the Magician reversed. The Magician, now this actually goes really well with what I said about this card. So the Magician reversed, especially, along with the Three of Swords. So with the Three of Swords, I talked about letting go of the story and the narrative that you're telling yourself, the story that you put on things. The Magician is about illusions. Now, sometimes I read this a very different way, but I'm going to read it this way because this is how I feel called to read this card. So the Magician, think about the Magician himself. He's crafty. He loves to cast spells, and he loves to create illusions. Like, think of like a magician like David Copperfield. They do this amazing act, this major illusion, but it isn't true. You're seeing something. They're creating an illusion. I also like to think of someone who's like a really great seducer, or even like sort of a cult leader type of person who casts this image and makes people believe something and see something that isn't really there. And now, because it's reversed, I feel like we will be waking up to a lot of illusions that we maybe have bought into. So this really goes nicely hand in hand with the Three of Swords. So I think that for many of us, September, and again, Judgment too, was about awakening, right? So I think that September for a lot of us is going to be a month where we start to really open our eyes, and the illusions that we maybe have held to, or held near and dear to our hearts, whatever they might be, they start to fall away. And as those illusions fall away, it can be a little bit ungrounding. It's kind of disturbing when you have bought into a story and an illusion, and you've based your whole idea of things around that, and then that illusion crumbles, and you have to kind of scramble to find solid footing and ground about who you are and how things are. So yeah, I think that a lot of illusions are going to be kind of crumbling in the month of September. But a lot of these illusions are ones that you yourself have created. And they might be illusions about who you think you are, or what you think you're capable of or not capable of. And so these illusions crumbling actually have a liberating effect. Initially, it might feel not so good, but ultimately it is liberating. Now sometimes, another way to read the Magician is I see him as being about manifesting and making things happen, taking things that are non-physical, like ideas, visions, inspiration, and bringing it down onto the physical plane and making it manifest. And when he's reversed, though, it can show maybe a little bit of difficulty doing that. And so what might happen is there may be things that you're wanting to manifest, you're wanting to make happen, and when they don't happen as easily as you want them to, it might actually force you to kind of look at some things and spot the illusions and almost come to a greater place of truth and understanding and clarity, if that makes sense. I'm just going to look at this card again to see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to look at all 4 cards here. And I'm just looking at the comments here to see if there's anything. Okay. Okay, so just looking at all 4 cards here, I'm just seeing if there's anything else I want to mention. No, I feel like I've mentioned everything. I do think it's interesting, like the 2 major arcana cards we got was Judgment and the Magician reversed. And I think that this is interesting because Judgment is about waking up, hearing your calling, kind of entering a whole new phase of life in a way, a whole new way of being in the world. The Magician, to me, I associate him with like worldly things. Like when I talk about manifesting, when I'm talking about the Magician, I'm talking about like manifesting physical things. I feel like he is a master at making things physical. And so when I think of like manifesting, when I'm thinking of the Magician, I'm thinking of manifesting money, manifesting a house, a car, a job. I mean, a job's not physical, but you know what I mean? Things of the material world. The Magician, I think, loves the material world. And there's something transcendent and almost more spiritual and powerful about Judgment. And so I do feel like maybe the things that we have held near and dear for so long, we're starting to become less enamored with those things. And this all, I think, kind of starts to really get underway in the month of September. I think it's already been underway months ago, but you're really going to start to see the results of that in September. You may realize, oh, hey, I actually don't value the same things that I valued a year ago. And I've had this experience where I've had some sort of goal, like of making a certain amount of money or something like that. And then I'm working towards it. And then, a few months in or a year, and I realize, oh, I don't even want that. Like, what am I doing? Like, it's like your priorities shift. Something happens in your energy that kind of shifts what you prioritize. Anyway, that's what I'm getting from these 4 cards. So it feels like a month of transformation. And I say that because of especially the Judgment card. It does feel like a month of like inner shifts, and our perceptions will be changing. Our awareness around how we put a story on things will be changing. And I do think that there will be lots of opportunities for transcendence and awakening. And I say opportunities because you don't have to take those opportunities. You can choose not to. And that's actually fine too. Honestly. Like if you aren't ready for the awakening, if you don't want that, you're not going to be forced to do it. So that's one nice thing to keep in mind. But it does feel like I'm kind of excited for this month and to see what's going to happen. Laura, you said, OMG, this reading feels like it's calling me out big time. Okay, so Pantoufle, you said, I went to a talk by Witch last night. She said similar things, even though it wasn't a reading. Chills. Oh, that's so cool. That's really neat when I feel when my readings are in sync with other people's readings. I love that. Okay. Yeah. Jenny Gypsy, you said, I was hoping September was going to be easier than August. That was a rough retrograde. See, I didn't even realize we were in retrograde last month. I am oblivious to it because it stresses me out. So I just don't think about it. But yeah, September, I don't see September being an easy month, to be honest. For some of us, it might be. For some of us, it might be. But I think that yeah, I don't see it as being this like easy breezy month necessarily. So there's that. Okay. So is someone turning 50? I just see people saying, yay, congrats, you're 50. Oh, Pantufel, you're turning 50 on October 10th. Cool. That's a big one. 50. That's cool. All right, so let's shift. Let's transition. I'm debating whether I should leave the cards I've already pulled out on the table so that I can kind of, I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave these cards out. I'm not going to reshuffle them into the deck. I'm going to leave them here, and then I can kind of relate to them a little bit when I do the individual readings. So I'm going to reshuffle my cards here. And if anyone wants me to pull a card for them for the month ahead, or just if you have like a question or something like that, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll pull a card for you. And as I'm sort of switching gears here and shuffling my cards, I know there's some new people that have joined, lots of new people here joining. So welcome everyone. And I just want to give a little bit of a plug to my upcoming workshop that I have going on. So I have an upcoming workshop this Sunday called Plan Your September with Tarot. It's a tarot journaling / monthly planning session. I'm going to walk you through my favorite process for planning your month ahead. Ooh, I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can sign up if you want to. The cost is $33. You get a replay of the live event, which happens Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I think that's about 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm not 100% sure what that is in the UK or Europe. I think you guys are about 8 or 9 hours ahead of me. So it happens this Sunday. I'm super excited for it. So please join me if you feel called. All right. Okay, so let's pull some cards here. Okay, and I got something in my teeth. I ate a granola bar right before I came on here. I should have brushed my teeth first. Okay. Ooh, who did I say I was going to do reading for? Did I say someone's name? Angelina East. Okay. I would love a card, please. Okay, Angelina, I'm going to pull a card for you. All right. All right. So the card I got for you is Page of Swords. All right. So Angelina, Page of Swords. Okay. With the Page of Swords, she is learning how to use her mind and not let her mind use her, which is tricky. This is hard. This is like some sort of like high level, martial arts training or something, like mental training of like how to use your mind and not let your mind use you. And this kind of goes back to what I said about the Three of Swords earlier, and how our minds always want to weave stories, right? And those stories that our minds create then give birth to feelings and emotions, because whatever story we're telling ourselves in our head, there's an accompanying feeling that goes with that, whether for better or worse. And the Page of Swords is saying, you can really tap into the power of your thoughts and your beliefs, and in turn create feelings, desirable feelings that you want to have by, using your thoughts. You can use your thoughts and your mind to hone in on things, to get focused, to expand your mind. There's many different ways that you can use your mind versus having your mind use you. So that's the first thing that I get with this card. The other thing is, if you look at the background of the Page of Swords, it's windy. Trees are being blown this way and that way. The ground is uneven. The fox in the card looks unsure. He's kind of looking up at her like, what's she thinking? Or what's she going to do? So there is this feeling of like not being sure of things, not knowing how to proceed, feeling like you kind of need to get your footing. Things feel very in flux and things are kind of changing in the background. So that might be a little bit of what you might experience in September, is like just trying to get your footing, trying to get that stable, solid feeling of groundedness, and to be able to use your mind and not let it use you. Okay, so thank you, Angelina, for letting me read for you. I hope that made sense. All right. Lois, how can I express my creativity this week? Five of Cups. Ooh. Okay. I always love it when the card is like not the obvious choice. Like it's always, like, how can I express my creativity? And we get Five of Cups. Okay, so Five of Cups. The first thing that popped into my mind is if you have any feelings, maybe negative feelings or feelings of like disappointment or loss or grief, being able to tap into those feelings and channeling them into some kind of art, whether that is writing or painting or acting or singing or dancing. And I think that is really kind of the muse that a lot of artists have for their work, is emotions and feelings, intense ones like grief or sadness, or I mean, the other emotions would be, joy or desire, but the Five of Cups is about feeling a sense of loss, a sense of disappointment and grief. Um, and so this may not be the answer you were expecting. How can I express my creativity this week? I feel like this isn't really telling you how to express it. It's more like how to tap into your creativity, like tapping into it and finding that creative spark by kind of mining those emotions of maybe grief, loss, disappointment, things like that. I'm just going to have a closer look at this card though, because your question was, how can I express my creativity? I think don't be afraid to get messy when it comes to creativity. Like, there's three spilled cups, and I think of it as being like cans of paint being knocked over. I know they're wine glasses here, but I think of like when it comes to creativity, I think sometimes we're afraid to make a mess. Like, I know when I sit down to paint or I sit down to write, the one thing that's going to block me from being creative is if I try to make it good. If I try to make it good and be tidy and precise, then it's going to be exhausting and I'm not going to have fun. But if you are, if you give yourself permission to be messy, to knock the paint over, to just slap paint on a canvas, or just write whatever on your laptop, or whatever you're doing creatively, that is going to set you free. So that's the other message I get with that card. Thank you so much for that question, Lois. I love questions about creativity like that. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Pentufel. You said you already got the worksheets for my session and they're awesome. Yay. Yeah, I just finished creating them yesterday. I spent yesterday doing the little drawings and stuff for them. I never know if I should do like a ton of drawings when I create worksheets and make them like really busy and have lots going on, or keep them kind of like a little bit Spartan, a little bit like not too busy. So this time I opted to have them not so busy. So hopefully people like them. Okay. Yeah, and one thing I want to mention here is, even though I'm drawing cards for individuals now and I'm doing readings for people, those readings are really for everyone here. So if you're here watching, and you want a reading, don't think, oh, I just have to wait till I get my reading, but none of these other readings, apply to me. Everyone I read for right now, everything I say also kind of applies to you if you're here listening. So there's something that you could probably resonate with or take and use. even if I'm not reading for you specifically. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay. Lois, you said, yeah, you try to be perfect, which hampers your creativity. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Sky Tarots, how can I transition into my own business so that I can leave my job? Okay. Eight of Wands. So Eight of Wands tells me that you may be able to do this more quickly than you think. So if you think that making this transition is going to be a lengthy process and it's going to take you years or whatever, Eight of Wands is saying, actually, it might be a quicker transition than you're planning for, which is good news. That's good. It hinges on a few things. So taking action, even if it's baby steps, towards starting up your own business, that's going to go a long way. And once you start making those steps, it's like you send that signal out to existence, to the universe, that you are ready. You're serious about this. You're ready. You're making these steps. You're putting these things in place, and things will start to pick up. You'll start to get more clarity as you go. Opportunities might start to kind of come into your lap as you make more steps towards setting up your business. And I don't know if maybe you've already set up your business, or let me know in the comments. Actually, have you already set up your business and you're just trying to transition so it's making more money, or are you in the beginning stages of like getting your business started? I'm just being nosy here. I don't need to know this, but I'm just curious. Now, a couple things here. I'm really noticing the river in this card that's going like right through the bottom of the card, this river that's like really flowing. And there is this feeling of like movement and flow and things happening with this card. It's not a stagnant card. So to me, it's telling me like you can do this, you can make this transition. And when you start to take action towards this, things will start to speed up. And there's something about like flow and sort of getting into the flow of things. Let's just see if you've responded. No, not yet. Okay. Yeah, in the beginning stages, been thinking about this for years. Okay, this makes so much sense. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Sky Taros. So you're in the beginning stages of your business, but you've been thinking about it for years. So now is the time, I think, to kind of step things up. And I'm not saying now is the time to like quit your day job and go into this full time. But I'm saying now is the time to start really getting serious and shift from like thinking about it to actually doing things, whatever that might look like for you. So taking bigger action steps towards your dream of really getting this business up off the ground. I feel like that is, I mean, it sounds like such a mundane way for me to answer your question, like, because you're asking me, how can I transition into my own business? And I'm saying, like, take action and take steps to develop your business. I feel like this is such a like a no-brainer thing for me to say, so I feel silly saying it, but that's what Eight of Wands is saying. It's like, as you take more actions towards prioritizing your business, putting time into it, getting things going, more opportunities will come. You'll start to, and I don't know what your business is. If it's like a tarot business, I'm just going to assume it's, just for argument's sake, I'm going to assume it's a tarot business. Bigger steps might be like promoting yourself, like doing tarot parties on the weekends or something like that. So, something that's maybe like a little out of your comfort zone, but that will really kind of get the ball rolling for you. Okay, so thank you for that. Thank you for your question, and good luck. Good luck to you in your new business. It does feel like things might be kind of speeding up for you in that regard, so that's nice. Okay. Kathy, I would love a guidance card about which relationship to put the most focus. Okay, so what relationship should you put the most focus on? Okay. So Kathy, the card for you is Queen of Cups. All right. So, interesting. To me, the Queen of Cups is a very she's very nurturing, and I think of her as being almost kind of motherly. Um, and it feels like there might be certain relationships you have where that person almost needs you to take care of them, but not, I don't mean in an unhealthy way. I don't mean like caretaking and doing everything for someone, but there might be someone in your life right now who just needs you to like hold a space for them and to maybe even be a shoulder to cry on or to kind of provide that like nurturing, like kind, soft, like a mothering type of energy. It feels like there's someone that really needs that from you. But my first instinct when I turned over the card, and again, just going back, like if that relationship, if that feels good for you, that relationship needs to be prioritized now, I would say go for that. But my first instinct when I turned over this card was to also prioritize your relationship with yourself. I think of the Queen of Cups, like she is so good at holding a space for others, but she's equally good at holding a space for herself and nurturing herself. And that is why she's able to nurture others so tirelessly, is because she nurtures herself first, and she, has pretty good boundaries, and she takes care of herself, and so she keeps her energy strong, and so she's able to offer that nurturing to others. Yeah, does that answer your question, Kathy? I'm just curious. Does that make sense? Let me know. I'm just having a look here. See if there's anything else that comes up. Yeah, I feel like this might be like a relationship with a child, like an adult child, maybe. Um, could be a grandchild, could be a family member or someone that you're kind of mentoring. But yeah, okay, we'll leave that for now. I'm gonna reshuffle my cards. I just want to say thank you, Kathy. Hopefully that resonated. Okay, I'm gonna pick another. Oh, Stella, thank you. You said you started watching my deep dive videos on the cards and you really love it. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, those are a lot of fun to do. I'm just working on doing the one for King of Swords next. Okay, so Joscelyn. I feel so stuck. Guidance on how to get unstuck. Okay, I love this question. And as an aside, I often feel stuck, and I find tarot can be so helpful to to just get unstuck. So I love this question. Okay, how can Joscelyn get unstuck? The moon. Ugh. Okay, and I say whoa because the moon is so mysterious. The moon doesn't always provide us with this like easy to decipher answer. Ooh. Okay. So the moon to me makes me think of our wild side. So this is our kind of animalistic nature. Our think of your like subconscious, your intuition. That is all part of your wild side. Your intuition is very wild. This is something you're born with. This is a very like instinctual kind of thing. So intuition is part of your wild side, your wild self. the subconscious, the unconscious. This is the stuff that you're not, it's unseen, it's under the surface. You're not always aware of it, but it has a powerful effect on you. Um, and so, guidance on how to get unstuck. Pay attention to your dreams. If you have dreams, if you remember them, paying attention to things like dreams, starting to pay attention to intuition. Now, this goes really well with the card that we got for the month ahead. And the judgment was all about hearing your inner calling, which is, the same as paying attention to your intuition and your soul's calling. And so with the moon, I do feel like, you want to pay attention to those intuitive feelings. Your intuition is actually telling you how to get unstuck. And sometimes your intuition might communicate to you through dreams, even daydreams. So you don't have to be asleep. It could be a daydream you're having. Visions, feelings. Your intuition is always communicating with you. It's not always easy to listen to or to hear. So sometimes it feels like that communication line is a little bit fuzzy, like a bad phone line that's like breaking up. But listening, paying attention, like, what do you feel called to do right now? Whoa, is there like an idea that keeps popping in your head, like to learn something or to do something or to go somewhere? Starting to pay attention to those little things, that is going to help you get unstuck. I'm also going to say some other stuff about this card. Pay attention to cycles. So the moon makes me think of the moon and the lunar cycle, and then all the other cycles in our lives and the things that the patterns that we're noticing. So the gift of the moon is that it's on this monthly cycle. We have the full moon once a month, and then I always call it like the dark moon or new moon. But we have these cycles, and you can tap into those cycles of the moon. So, and I can't remember what the moon is doing right now. I think it's not full right now. I know that. When the moon is dark, that can be a really great time for introspection. And when the moon is full, also, like, that's when like things start to come to the surface. When the moon is dark, you can like dive deep, and it's like diving deep into dark, still waters to explore what's beneath. But when the moon is full, it's like all that stuff that's maybe been repressed all month starts to like come to the surface to be observed. So you can utilize the cycles of the moon to do some inner work in some way and get unstuck. And also pay attention to the other cycles in your life. Like, what patterns keep getting repeated again and again? Again, that's another method of getting unstuck, is seeing the patterns. Because when you talk about being stuck, and the moon also is about like not seeing things clearly. Like, it's nighttime, the moon is out, so the moon is casting this glow on things. So some things are visible, but there's also shadows. Not everything is visible. And so paying attention when you're stuck, it's because you maybe don't see, you're stuck in a pattern, but you don't see what the pattern is. So noticing, what patterns am I in right now? What things keep getting repeated again and again and again? And think of it like every pattern or every repetition, the things that keep getting repeated is another opportunity to take a closer look and unstick yourself, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, and there's some good advice in the comments too. Maybe just exploring some lunar related practices will help. New moon yoga, full moon sound bath. I like all those ideas. Yeah. Okay, Brittany. Can I get a card for guidance right now? Yes. All right, so Brittany, you got nine of Pentacles, one of my favorite cards. And I have to say, this is like more of a light kind of fun card. We haven't had a lot of like super light fun cards yet, so I'm happy to see this one here. So Nine of Pentacles is really advising you to slow down, relax, take your time. So take your time to stop and smell the roses. Take your time to like look up from whatever you're doing and look around you and observe and use your senses. Your five senses are powerful tools for being in the present moment. And it's only when you're fully in the present moment that you can really truly hear the voice of your soul. And you can really truly experience this life that you're living. And I know that sounds big, and it is. And your five senses, it's funny because your five senses, so taste, sound, sight, smell, sometimes we think of them as being distractions, and sometimes they can be. But if you really pay attention to your senses and really tap into them, it can really ground you in the present moment. It can ground you in the now. And when you're in the now, typically you're able to relax a little bit when you're fully present. When you're fully present and your mind isn't in the future or in the past, you're able to just be here now. And there is a certain relief in that, in just being here now. So the Nine of Pentacles is saying, slow down, don't rush things. Really take the time to like get into your body, get out of your head, get into your body, get into the present moment. And you said, whoa, when I asked for a guidance card during summer or spring, I got the Nine of Pentacles from you too. I wonder what I said then. Probably something similar. Nine of Pentacles is saying like prioritize leisure time, but make it high quality leisure time, not low quality leisure time. So low quality leisure time might be like sitting and watching a TV show, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But when I say high quality leisure time, I mean leisure activities that really feed your soul. I don't think any of us can say that after sitting and watching some TV series that we feel like our soul has been fed. And it probably depends on what you're watching. Maybe some series, yes. But I think most of them, like, no, you don't come away from watching TV or a movie being like, oh my God, my soul was fed. Unless it was like a really good movie or show. So yeah, it's like really prioritizing taking a break and having that leisure time, but high quality leisure time that really allows you that deep rest and connection with the earthly realm. Okay. Buttercup. Yes, I'm going to pull a card for you. Can I get a card to help guide me to what I need to focus on for working on self-love in the coming month? Absolutely. Okay. So Buttercup, you got Justice. Okay. All right. Okay, so Justice is the card to help guide you on what you need to focus on as you're working on self-love this month. Okay, connect with you. This is gonna sound a little bit batshit because it has nothing to do with Justice, but connect with your, whether you think of it as your like spirit team. Like I believe, and you might not believe this, so I don't want to like put my own spiritual ideas onto you. But I do believe that we have spiritual helpers, whether you think of that as spirit guides or ancestors or guardian angels or just your higher self. I do feel like we have spiritual help in some way. We have like I think of it as like a spirit team. The way I look at it is I think of like myself as being part of a team of several beings, and we all take turns incarnating in a physical body, and then we all share with each other what we learned. And right now it's my turn. I'm in a physical body right now, and they're in the spirit realm helping me. And sometimes it just helps me, feel less alone in the world, and like it helps me feel kind of supported. And so the reason I'm saying all of this as I look at justice is there isn't just one person on justice. There's four people, and they look like they're elders. They look like they have some experience and some wisdom, and they're all sitting together around this table. And it looks like they're playing a game, actually. It doesn't really look like they're necessarily having a serious discussion. Um, but to me, this card makes me think of like consulting with your spirit guides or your higher self or whatever, however you think of that. And so that is one thing to focus on, and you can focus on that. Like I find meditation is the best way to connect with my higher self or my spirit team, or journaling can be powerful. Even just pulling cards. Sometimes I feel like I'm having like a conversation with my higher self, with my cards, and kind of journaling about it. That's another way. I do find meditation is a very powerful way. Has anyone here watching ever heard of the gateway tapes? I'm gonna actually put it in the chat, and I'll come back to this, Buttercup, so don't go away. I'm gonna put okay, gateway tapes. Okay, so the gateway tapes, I recommend working with these for meditation. This is what really finally helped me meditate for extended periods of time without getting bored or distracted. And if you're on Spotify, the gateway, I think it might also be called the Gateway Process. The Monroe Institute is the company that created them. You can find it on Spotify. I think there's a bunch of free ones on Spotify that you can listen to. So they're guided meditations, basically. They're guided meditations, and I've found them very powerful, very helpful, and really has helped me get good at meditating, and has really helped me connect with the spirit realm and my higher self and things like that. So highly recommend it. Okay. So that's what I'm getting from Justice, Buttercup. I'm just going to look and see if there's anything else. I like the fact that they look like they're playing dominoes. And so I think this idea of self-love, working on self-love, I think it's important, even though it sounds like a serious and important thing, find a way to have fun with it and make it playful, almost making a game out of it. How can you be more playful in this pursuit of working on self-love? How can this be a playful thing? How can it feel kind of playful? And there's other stuff I could talk about too, like there's scales, and then there's a sword and scales. Okay, so that makes me think, the sword makes me think of like, what kinds of things can you trim from your life that would reflect self-love? Like, for example, if I look at myself and I'm like, okay, there's this one thing I do every week that's like a commitment that I have that I'm not really enjoying. If I loved myself, would I continue showing up for this thing? The answer is no. So I need to get out of doing this thing. And then the scales are all about balance. And, I think balance can be challenging, because living a balanced life doesn't necessarily mean, being perfectly balanced at all times. But I think if you have a healthy sense of love and respect for yourself, it's easier to be in balance and to balance out work and play and things like that. All right. And yeah, the scales are a Libra symbol. Yes. Okay, and you said, a thought occurred to me recently to work with my ancestors. Yes. I need to work on my meditation practice more for sure. Okay, yeah. So I highly recommend the Gateway tapes. I'm curious if anyone has tried them. They've just been so. I'd actually put the link to Spotify, but I don't have Spotify open, and I'm worried if I try to open it, my computer will crash or something. So I'm gonna leave it. But if you go on Spotify and search for it, you'll find them. All right. Meredith, what should I pay attention to during my travels over the next 3 months to be as supportive to my spouse as possible? Okay. Are you traveling with your spouse? That's what I want to know. And hello, Greg. Welcome. Good to see you here. Okay, so Meredith, I'm going to pull a card for you. Oh, Six of Pentacles. Okay. So this is funny that you asked a question about being supportive, and this is a card that shows, people being supportive of one another. Okay, so you said yes, you are going to be traveling with your spouse. Okay, for 3 months. All right. What should you pay attention to? Pay attention to balance. So here's those scales again, but we only see one part of the scale. And the thing with the Six of Pentacles is it's a really beautiful card of supporting others and giving to others, but also being like allowing others to give to you. And it really draws attention to like, what is your relationship to that? Are you more comfortable being the giver and being, helpful and supportive? And how do you feel about getting support from someone? Because sometimes often we really get out of balance here where we get into the role of being the caretaker and the one that's doing the giving and the helping and the supporting. And that's fine. That's fine if we're able to get support elsewhere to balance that out. Or some relationships are very equal and both of you are able to support each other. But sometimes a relationship might not be like that, or you might be going through a phase where maybe your husband needs more of your support than he can give you. So what you have to pay attention to is, and I feel like I said this with another card, but like you have to make sure that you're also supported so that you can give the kind of support that you want to give. And 3 months is a long time. And so you want to be, what should I pay attention to be as supportive as I can, as possible to my spouse? I think supporting yourself first so that you have the energy, you have the resources to be supportive to another person. So I don't know what that looks like for you, but I do feel like balance, there is a question of balance, like how are you going to balance things out? And I know when you're traveling, I always find balance is really important. Like I find when I'm traveling, if I'm going to a new place, it can be tempting to want to pack in all these activities and do all this stuff and see all this stuff. But I know myself, I start to become like the worst version of myself when I'm doing that. So whenever I'm traveling, I will intersperse days where I don't really do anything. Like I'll go to like a day spa or somewhere where I can just kind of veg out and there's not a lot going on. And then I can enjoy the like sightseeing the next day. And when I'm traveling with my husband, we don't travel together very often, but when we do, especially if it's for like a long stretch of time, I make sure that I have days to myself where I'm not with him, or activities where I'm away from him so that I don't get sick of him. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else here. No, I think I've covered it. Okay, you said, so you said I'm supporting him as a caregiver as he is navigating the possibility of a lung transplant. Okay, so I mean, this definitely shows a caregiving relationship happening. There's an older woman being taken care of by, it looks like maybe her daughter, and she has this heart pendant on her chest. She's very like in her heart. She's very loving. She's very caring. So I feel like uh, this is a nice card to get. It shows like a peaceful kind of relationship here. But it is a reminder that, also take care of yourself as well. Being able to take care of yourself will enable you. And I don't know what taking care of yourself would look like or means. That's for you to to figure out. But I feel like that will allow you to be a more grounded, kind of supportive caretaker. Um, and the Six of Pentacles, it's from the suit of Pentacles. And the Pentacles are, to me, make me think of grounding, calming energy, being grounded. And I think being as grounded as possible is also going to help you and your husband. Okay, thank you so much for your question, Meredith, and best of luck to you. Okay, let's do a love reading. I feel like this is the first question I've got about love. I think last time it was a lot of love questions, unless I'm just not seeing them. That could be too. Okay. Coherencia. If I can get a reading, I would like to know what is next for me in love. I'm so very single. Okay. All right. So the card I got for you is... Oh, and you said this is Maria. Oh, I know you. I know who this is. You're just on another account. Okay. So Maria, Six of Cups. Okay. So this is a nice card. So what is next for you in love? And we have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is a happy card and it's a playful card. When it comes to love, this feels like, Six of Cups has to do with like maybe even reconnecting with an old friend, someone from your past, maybe someone from your childhood even, but an old friend. And there is this spirit of like playfulness. It's not a super serious card. It's kind of a playful card. But it's a happy card. And I don't see this as symbolizing like a super serious relationship or like a major commitment, but there's something fun and footloose and fancy free about this. And it's encouraging you when it comes to like love and romance and connecting with others. The Six of Cups is encouraging you to be kind of playful and not take it super seriously. And yeah, and it's not saying like if that doesn't feel right for you, it's not telling you to be casual if that's not your thing, but it's telling you to kind of see connecting with others as being an opportunity for just kind of playfulness. Like, I'm trying to think of another way to say this. There's just like this feeling of kindness with this card, and I know I myself am not single, but I have a lot of single friends. And from what they tell me about the dating scene, is that there's not always a lot of like kindness and respect there. Like people behave pretty horribly when you're like going on first dates and things like that. If you're online dating, like I hear all these kind of horror stories. But this card feels good. It feels kind. It feels respectful. There is a real like loving energy of support here. And I feel like it's saying like you might want to prioritize friendships. And it's almost like you're asking like what's next for me in love. And I feel like your love life springs from your friendships. Like It's in reconnecting with friends that will kind of change things in the romance department for you. Not necessarily that you're going to be dating your old friends, but that in connecting with friends and prioritizing friendships, you'll meet other people. Like they might introduce you to people. That's kind of what I'm sort of getting at. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Thank you so much for your question, Maria. Okay. 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 Cat. What can I do to get through the rest of the year? All right. That sounds like you've maybe had a hard year, Kat, just the way you asked, the way that you formulated that question. What can I do to get through the rest of the year? So let's see. Let's see what the cards have to tell you about. And I'll just pause to tell you, or just kind of remind you, that I'm using the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot by Ethany. This is actually my new favorite deck. I've been using this deck a lot lately, and I find it really easy to connect with. And it's just all the things that I look for in a tarot deck. I love it. Okay. So Kat, the card you have here is, sweet, Page of Pentacles. Okay. I'll just wait for my camera to, there we go. Okay, so Page of Pentacles, there's a certain sweetness and an innocence to this card, and he's planting seeds. And I'll just kind of go with this gardening analogy. When you start a garden and you plant seeds, it gives you something to look forward to. You've planted these seeds, and it also gives you something to do. Now you have to water the seeds. You have to kind of keep an eye on things. It gives you something to think about. You're supporting new life and new growth, and it gives you something to look forward to. Now you're looking forward to when those seeds finally germinate and sprout, and then, when they bear fruit, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a metaphor, of course, for planting seeds, starting projects, giving yourself something positive to focus on, something that you can look forward to. So this card asks you, you're saying, what can I do to get through the rest of the year? Well, what kind of seeds are you planting now? Are you starting any projects? Is there anything that you're looking forward to over the next few months? Give yourself something to look forward to. And we're past the halfway point. So we've got September, October, November, December. We've got 4 months left of the year. That year went by really fast, I feel like. Maybe not for everyone. But Page of Pentacles is saying you need something to take care of, and something that will take your focus in a healthy way, something to nurture. You need something to kind of nurture and take care of that will give you something to look forward to over the next few months. So it might be a hobby, it might be a project, it might be something along those lines will be really helpful for you. And the Page of Pentacles, and I said this about, earlier we got the Page of Swords, and I said the Page of Swords was about learning how to work with your mind, right? How to use your mind instead of letting your mind use you. And the Page of Pentacles is all about sort of learning how to ground your energy, learning how to work with your body rather than having your body work against you. So it's about kind of grounding into your body, taking care of your body, learning how to kind of take care of yourself on a physical level. And so I feel like you may be needing to take care of yourself better on a physical level, nurturing your body more. And I think that that is going to kind of support you as you move through the rest of this year. Okay. Oh, okay. So thank you, Kat, for your question. All right, so I'm gonna do, I probably have time for, let's see, I'm gonna go at 12:30. So I feel like I've got time for at least a couple more readings. So I'm just gonna reshuffle my deck here. Okay, I'm gonna pull a card. Marcos. Okay, Marcos, you said my academic life is getting way too busy. What can I do to go with the flow? Okay. Oh, Queen of Wands. All right. Fun. Okay. What can you do to go with the flow? Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands likes being busy, but she likes being busy with things that she's passionate about. So I'm hoping, Marcos, that your academic life and the things that you're studying are things that you're interested in, you're passionate about. That certainly helps, I think, to energize you. But what can you do to go with the flow? Hmm. Well, I'll tell you how the Queen of Wands would go with the flow, and hopefully that makes sense. So, the Queen of Wands, she can handle a heavy workload and she can handle being busy if the things that she's busy doing are things that are important to her, that are things that she's fascinated by, and things that she's like passionate about. If she's passionate about her work, then she has like unlimited energy and unlimited ability. And she can actually spread herself quite thin and not get burnt out, which is remarkable. And it's all about tapping into what she's passionate about and tapping into her why. Like she needs to have a reason why she's doing what she's doing. And I think that if you tap into your why, like why are you studying these things? Why are you going to school? What's the overarching plan or purpose? And how does it connect to your heart's desire and what you're passionate about and your work in the world? And once you attach what you're doing to that, once you find how that connects, that is going to help you really go with the flow. And I think that when we get out of touch with that, and when we're like, why am I doing this? Or maybe, a lot of the things you're putting work into are possibly things that you're not super excited about, which can happen when you're going to school, right? Because not every class is going to be your favorite. Then that can feel, things start to feel like a lot of work and start to feel really overwhelming. So Queen of Wands is saying, get back in touch with what you're passionate about and why you're doing what you're doing. And when you connect what you're doing now to the bigger picture of your life purpose, that is going to set you up for being able to go with the flow. So thank you for your question and good luck to you, Marcos, in your studies. Kathy, thank you. You love my interpretations. Yay. Okay, Lizzy, you've been here a while and you've asked a few times, so I want to read for you. So Lizzy, you would like a card. Okay. Okay, Marcos, I'm glad that that card resonated for you. That's good. Good to hear. Okay, so a card for Lizzy. Ooh, 3 of Pentacles. Nice. All right. So 3 of Pentacles. This is a card of collaboration, working with others, and having an overarching plan. So if you're lacking inspiration or direction or struggling with something, the 3 of Pentacles tells you 2 things. Number 1, it says, don't try to do everything all by yourself. Ask for help. You're stronger in a team, and collaboration may be your best friend right now. The other thing it tells you to do is to have a plan, to have a, like what these people are doing here. 2 people are painting the other person is directing them and telling them where to paint or what to paint. So it's like having a plan of what you're going to be doing, and everyone has their different roles within that plan. We're not everyone's doing the exact same thing. This person's doing the painting, this person's painting the other side of the ceiling, and this person's doing the supervising or whatever's going on there. So that's what I get with Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is also about finding your life's work, or finding work um, where, when you're doing something, like I get this all the time when I'm sketching or painting, where the time just like flies by. You sit down, and you just get into something, and you get in the zone, and all of a sudden hours go by, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like 3 hours later. Where did the time go? Because you're just like so into what you're doing. And that is what the Three of Pentacles makes me think. It's about like finding that work that just like fits with who you are and what you're good at, and you can just really get in the zone. So I don't know if that resonated, Lizzy, or if that makes sense for where you're at or what's going on for you. But again, like Three of Pentacles is saying collaboration is your friend. Don't try to do everything all by yourself. All right, so I'm just gonna scroll up here and see. I'm gonna do a couple more. I have time for a couple more readings. Chinshu says, when will I find my soulmate? I don't know. I don't believe in soulmates, and I don't believe in soulmates. I don't believe that we're fated to find our soulmate on like a specific date or anything like that. But I feel your question, Chinshu, and I get that. I feel like you're wanting that connection. You're wanting a special connection with someone, and you want to know when on earth is that going to happen. So I'll pull a card for you and see what the tarot has to say about this. Ace of Wands. Ooh. Okay, so Ace of Wands has this like new energy. There's this fresh burst of inspiration. And whenever an ace shows up in a reading, it's an opportunity for a fresh start. It's saying like, some new opportunity is on the horizon. So there will be opportunities for you to meet people that you connect with. So as I see this card, there's no question that those opportunities will come up for you at some point. And I would say sooner rather than later. Okay. Oh, I still have Lizzy's thing on the thing. Okay. Let me just switch to yours. Okay. When will I find my soulmate? Okay. This is just a challenging card for this question. Ace of Wands. It makes me think of writing. Like if you look at how the hand is holding that wand, to me, it makes me think of writing. But I don't want to say what I'm about to say, which is like, it's advice that people sometimes give when you're like looking for a partner. It's like, write down what you're looking for, write down what you want that partner to be like. I hate that advice for some reason. I don't know why I don't want to say that, but that's what it makes me think of. So I don't know if that resonates for you or not, but like this idea of sort of getting clear on what is it you're looking for when you say soulmate. So someone that you're really compatible with, someone you feel a connection with, what's the criteria for that? What does that look like for you? I think it's useful to have a sense of clarity about what you're looking for in a relationship, for sure. But to me, the Ace of Wands just makes me think of like feeling inspired creatively and then following that creative spark. And I know that doesn't have anything to do with soulmates. So I'm just curious like how that relates. Yeah, I think like there is this feeling of like inspiration with the Ace of Wands. There is this like feeling of like new growth, fresh start. To me, it's like encouraging you to make a fresh start. So whatever you're doing or have been doing to find a partner perhaps hasn't been working. And with the Ace of Wands, it's like an opportunity to turn over a new leaf and make a fresh start, make a fresh plan, taking a different approach to things and starting a new chapter, whatever that looks like for you. So I don't know if that was helpful, but that's what I'm getting from the Ace of Wands. Okay, thank you so much for your question. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more card, and then I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna actually reshuffle in some of the cards that we got for the month ahead. So I'm reading the full deck here, and I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with me live. This has been a lot of fun. I'm kind of planning on doing these monthly forecasts, these live events for the next little while. So I'm going to be doing another one. I'll do one for October in about a month from now. So stay tuned. It's been fun hanging out. And don't forget about my upcoming workshop this Sunday. I'll put the link in the chat here if you want to check it out. It's a tarot planning, like a monthly planning tarot journaling session to help you start your September off on the right foot. I don't know about you, but I am kind of a horrible procrastinator, and I will start my month off with all these like good intentions and ideas of things that I want to put my attention on and projects I want to start, things I want to try. And then I don't make it a priority. I don't put it in my calendar, and it just doesn't happen. And so the experience I've had lately is like month after month after month is just kind of passing, and I'm like, where did the month go? Like there's all these things I wanted to do and I didn't do any of them. Like what's happening to my life? Where's the time going? So that kind of inspired me to create the workshop that I'm going to teach this Sunday. So I'd love it if you could join me. And I'll put the link below this video as well if you're watching the replay of this. So yeah, check it out. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card for last card here. I have to pick a really, really good one. Oh, Swaro, you always come to my lives. Thank you so much for being here. I love seeing you. And you said I'll answer your question. So you asked a question about your business a long time ago. Please re-ask it. I'll scroll up and see if I can find it. But feel free to just repost what your question was and I'll pull a card for you. Yeah, it must have been a while ago that you asked it because I don't see it. Oh, here we go. Okay, perfect. Can I get a card on whether or not I should start my business now or should I wait? Okay. All right. Ooh, Page of Swords again. Okay. Someone else got this near the beginning of this live. Okay. Page of Swords. Okay, whether or not you should start your business now or wait. I feel like you need to wait until you feel a little more sure of yourself. It feels like there's a lot of things that are maybe up in the air. You haven't got things really fleshed out or nailed down yet. It feels like there's a lot of moving parts here, and you maybe don't have the stability and the clarity to really make this business a success if you start it right now. That doesn't mean that you can't work on your business and do things to get it started. It just means right now may not be the perfect time to launch it. I'm not saying you shouldn't launch it, but it might not be the best time to launch. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't work towards this business. It just feels like this business isn't grounded enough to be a success yet at this specific point in time. There's more laying of the groundwork that needs to be done. And I say that because to me, the Page of Swords, she's kind of unsure of herself, which would make sense if you're starting a new business. Of course, you're going to feel a little unsure of things, right? So that makes sense. But she's trying to find her footing. She's trying to find some solid ground. And I think what's important here is feel into your question. So when you think about starting your business or waiting, feel into like, okay, if I started my business like now, how does that feel? Do I feel kind of unstable and unsteady, or do I feel like yes, like, and when it comes to just waiting and holding off and continuing to lay the groundwork and do other work that needs to be done for your business before you launch it, does that feel a little better? And I think that, it's always going to be scary to start a new business and dive in. I get it. So I'm not saying you have to be like 100% confident and sure of yourself before you start things. But Page of Swords is telling me there's a little more work that needs to be done. And as you lay that groundwork, you'll start to feel more stable. You'll start to feel more sure of yourself. And then you'll know, okay, now I'm ready. The fact that you're asking this question, I think the answer is give yourself a little more time to set things up. And that's going to better ensure your success in business. Yeah. Yeah. And as Pantoufel chimed in here, maybe a little more prep is needed, some marketing plans, etc. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to close my live event here. And I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm just reading some of the comments now. Oh, thank you, Sky Tarots. You said I've inspired you to move forward with tarot. That makes me so happy. Oh, thank you, Stella. Yay. Oh, good. Okay. I'm glad that resonated with you, Swaro. Okay. So yeah, okay. I'm going to close things. So I just want to wish everyone the best of luck for this new month of September. Really interesting cards. I'm excited to see how it all kind of plays out in the month of September. I always get really excited for September because to me, it feels like I just have all these memories of like starting a new school year, and you'd be going to school, you'd have like your new books, your new pens, some new clothes, and fall was there was always like the air was always a little bit crisp, and I just remember like feeling kind of excited, like new year, like, and so I still feel that way in September, that feeling of excitement, like, oh, September is about to start, like it's a new year and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for September. I hope you are too. And best of luck with everything. And thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.